The indictment of former FBI Director James Comey is unlike anything we have seen in modern American politics. What should have been a straightforward legal case has instead exposed a shocking collision between law and raw political power. Former prosecutors and legal experts are already calling the case exceptionally weak. They point to fundamental problems with the charges, the strange sequence of events leading to the indictment, and the role of the president himself in pushing this forward. From the very beginning, this was a race against the clock. The statute of limitations was about to run out, and the president knew it. He told his attorney general, "We have no time to lose. We have to get this done now, whatever it takes." Those words are not just political rhetoric. They may become part of Comey's defense. Motions for vindictive prosecution and selective prosecution will almost certainly cite the president's own statements as evidence that this was less about law and more about political revenge. The president's public remarks before and after the indictment are even more revealing. He called Comey a slime ball, corrupt, and the worst liar ever. He insisted that Comey's guilt was obvious, saying there was no way he can explain his way out of it. In a normal case, defendants struggle to prove prosecutorial bias. But here, defense attorneys have something close to a smoking gun. The president himself urging his own Justice Department to indict a man he personally despises. Now, what are the charges really about? At the core is Comey's testimony before the Senate Judiciary Committee back in 2020. Under oath, he was asked if he had ever been an anonymous source for stories related to the Trump or Clinton investigations. He said no. But former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe has claimed Comey was aware of leaks to the Wall Street Journal and even authorized them. The indictment leans on this discrepancy. But there's a problem. Even McCabe's own statements don't align with the government's version. The Justice Department's Inspector General reported in 2018 that McCabe did not recall telling Comey in advance about the leaks. He said that when he informed Comey afterward, Comey didn't react negatively. That's a far cry from proving Comey authorized a leak under oath, which means the case may hinge on shaky testimony and conflicting recollections, not clear evidence. And that leads us to why this indictment is raising eyebrows. Legal experts note it is unusually thin, what they call the thinnest indictment they've seen. It lacks the detail normally found in a speaking indictment, which lays out the narrative in depth. Instead, this case reads more like a placeholder, rushed into existence to meet a deadline rather than built to secure a conviction. The strangeness doesn't end there. Lindsey Halligan, a Trump-aligned attorney with limited prosecutorial background, personally signed the indictment. That's highly abnormal. Typically, experienced prosecutors handle signatures on high-profile cases. The fact that Halligan stepped in suggests no one else at the Justice Department was willing to put their name on it. Analysts describe her position as Halligan's Island, isolated, exposed, and entirely political. So what's really happening here? Critics argue this is not about James Comey at all. It's about intimidation. It is about the president showing that he can weaponize the Justice Department to go after perceived enemies. It's about creating chaos, instilling fear, and signaling to loyalists that no one is beyond reach. The danger is bigger than one case. If prosecutions are driven by vendettas instead of evidence, then the rule of law becomes rule by man. Today it's Comey. Tomorrow it could be anyone who crosses the president. Journalists, political opponents, even ordinary citizens caught in the crossfire. Former prosecutors remind us that Justice Department guidelines are clear. You don't put a case before a grand jury unless you believe you can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. The previous U.S. attorney in charge of this matter either resigned or was pushed out after saying he could not even find probable cause. Yet the case was filed anyway, against standard practice, against ethical codes, and against the judgment of career prosecutors. This pattern is part of a larger story. We have seen other cases where meritorious prosecutions were shut down because they threatened allies of the president, while flimsy cases were forced forward against his critics. Together, it paints a troubling picture. a system bent to the will of one man. The stakes are clear. If courts allow prosecutions like this to move forward unchecked, the precedent will be devastating. Future presidents will have a roadmap for retaliatory justice. Each administration could escalate the cycle, targeting its opponents the way dictatorships do. That's why all eyes are now on how judges handle Comey's motions to dismiss. The next 48 hours could be decisive. Will the court recognize this as vindictive prosecution and throw it out?